There are over 300 cars available in Grand Theft Auto Online to purchase, and that is an insane amount of vehicles. It gives you a lot of choices, but also it's a lot of money to get these vehicles put into your garage. So in today's video, I'll be talking about my top 10 picks for the best vehicles to get your hands on, whether they're weaponized, armored, or really just great cars in general. Hopefully, all the vehicles that you should want are going to be covered in the list. So, as always, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and let's get straight into it. If you're a player who constantly spends hundreds of dollars on shark cards and doesn't want to waste any more, click the link in the description down below, where you can get boosted accounts that already have hundreds of millions of dollars on them for much cheaper prices. These accounts do not come with mod menus, and I do not condone cheating of the game to ruin other players' experiences. These are simply accounts with lots of money on them. Starting off, in the number 10 position, we do have the Stromberg. I think the Stromberg looks really nice, and I think it's actually a fairly underrated vehicle. You'll find it on Warstock Cash and Carry for the price tag of $1.9 million. And I personally think that that is a very reasonable price tag for what you're getting. First of all, the Stromberg is a submersible vehicle, which isn't anything crazy. We do have other submersible vehicles like the Toreador at this point, but it is still cool that you can drive this vehicle underwater, and it is just a little extra thing that you are able to do. The real strength of the Stromberg comes in the fact that it features homing missiles, and these missiles are very dangerous. They will be able to basically destroy anything you get a lock on. Even if it's a jet flying above, it is very, very good in that capability. And I should also mention that the Toreador can survive multiple explosions. We can see one, we can see two. It actually takes upwards of 3 to 4 missiles to blow up this car, which is actually pretty impressive. Now, yes, in most cases, the Toreador is a better vehicle, but I still find it amazing that you can purchase this car for basically dirt cheap when it comes to weaponized vehicles. And one other fun fact is that this car has an insanely dangerous machine gun. I'm not sure why, but Rockstar coded the machine gun of this car to deal the same damage as a minigun. Unfortunately, I'm not actually tall enough to shoot into that Sand King there. But yeah, as I said, it does the same damage as a minigun, which is kind of weird. But yeah, you do not want to mess with this vehicle. Either way, it's making it into the number 10 position because of its characteristics and the fact that it's very cheap for what it has going for it. Let me know what you guys think. In the number 9 position, we arrive to the Ramp Buggy. Now, I personally think the Ramp Buggy is actually really underrated when it comes to vehicles in the game. Let me show you what it can actually do. I got a bunch of different vehicles placed in front of us. Okay, so we got a money van, easily ramped right under it. We got a big truck, another big truck, no problem whatsoever. Okay, let's step up the game a little bit. Now we got a Chernabog. The Chernabog is so heavy that it will literally smash cars when you drive under it. But this is obviously no problem for the Ramp Buggy. Drives right under it. Okay, well, that brings us to the big boy, the Rhino Tank. And just like that, we went underneath a Rhino tank. Now that is insane. For people that don't realize how heavy the Rhino tank is, the Ramp Buggy is in fact the only vehicle in the game that can just smash a Rhino tank with no issues whatsoever. Now to be fair, we did lose a wheel, which I didn't even know you could do. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're still driving and the fact that we've been able to just drive underneath like 50 different super heavy vehicles is insane, and it really shows what the Ramp Buggy is able to do. You see, originally when this vehicle was added into the game, it had the problem that the more vehicles you drove underneath, it would actually slightly damage the car, and once you went under like 30, it would start to smoke. However, Rockstar removed that problem, and now the Ramp Buggy does not have that issue anymore. You can just drive over an infinite amount of vehicles, and that is incredibly good. And when you pair that with the fact that the price tag was also reduced on this car, I think the Ramp Buggy is an absolutely great pick to buy. As I said, it's great because you can just not have to worry when you're driving. Instead of have to constantly weaving in and out of traffic, you're in an off-road buggy that can literally just send any vehicle in front of you, well, no longer in front of you. And I absolutely love that. So sure, the Ramp Buggy, it's not weaponized, and it's not even a personal vehicle. You'll have to go over to the Vehicles tab to spawn it in. But it is still an incredibly fun car, and I can definitely tell you will be worth the price, especially if you're trying to get it from point A to point B and you're not the best driver. In the number 8 position, we arrive to the Insurgent Pickup Custom. I actually really like this vehicle for a couple reasons. First of all, the Insurgent Pickup Custom is a heavily armored beast. It is able to survive upwards of 27 homing missiles, which is just a ridiculous amount. I mean, how many vehicles in the game can you literally just say, I'm going to drive right into a gas pump with? Not many. But obviously, because of the sheer level of armor and protection this Insurgent has, you're not really going to have to worry all too much. The other thing I love about the Insurgent is that it has proximity mines that you can drop. You can see that I've placed those proximity mines on the road, and dead. Yeah, proximity mines are incredibly dangerous, and they will basically eradicate any scum around you. When you pair that with the fact that a friend can use the remote minigun on the roof, and this is a recipe for destruction. The Insurgent is great if you just want to make it from point A to point B, cause mayhem in the way, and ram people off the road. I do love how heavy this vehicle is because, yeah, you do not have to worry about cars getting in your way. So that is why the Insurgent makes it. I want to include at least one supercar in today's video. That is because supercars are really important to have. Not just because of the fact that they look great, but also because they do have versatility. Being able to drive a car from point A to point B very fast with great handling is obviously an important thing. And sure, you might have an Oppressor Mark II or some faster means of transportation, but at the end of the day, it is always good to have at least one fast vehicle in your arsenal, just in case you're not able to use them or you don't want to use them. The Turismo Imaggio is my choice for the best of the supercars. Why? Well, the Imaggio has basically the same effective lap time as the Emirates and the Krieger, which means that this is basically one of the best supercars in the game for handling, and it's also incredibly good on acceleration. And this is where I really like the Imaggio, and that is the fact that it actually has Amani Tech upgrades, and not in the way that you think. Amani Tech vehicles normally give you armor, and that is not the case for the Imaggio. This vehicle, you can put a missile lock-on jammer, which is actually kind of huge when you think about it, because nobody can aim homing missiles at you. Sure, you don't get the armor, but it is still incredibly nice to be able to drive around and not have to worry about somebody just pressing the fire button when a homing missile is locked on your car. And when you pair that with the literally S-tier handling and very good acceleration, plus fantastic customization, it's no doubt in my mind why the Imaggio makes it into the list. This next vehicle is one that you will definitely hear me talk a lot about on the channel, and it's mainly because of the fact I love driving it. This being the Future Shock ZR380. First of all, it's an incredibly nice looking vehicle, featuring a lot of different customization, and that's obviously fantastic. But it's not just the looks of this vehicle that are great, it's fast. It has a rocket boost, allowing it to achieve a top speed upwards of 140 miles per hour. That makes this one of the fastest sports cars in the game, and really only gets beaten out by HSW vehicles. You can see the sheer speed of the car while I'm driving it here. It is fast. Now, that's not to say it doesn't have a downside. The major one is the handling, but if you do put off-road tires on it, it makes it a whole lot better. Now, let's talk about this car's capabilities. First of all, it has bulletproof glass all over the front, and we can see that here. Does not matter where you shoot at the front of this car, it is impossible to kill the driver. This vehicle also has missile resistance, able to survive upwards of 3 homing missiles, the 4th one blowing it up. It has mines that you can drop. We can see I've dropped a mine on the road, and there you go, car gets EMP'd. I actually really like the EMP mines. Unfortunately, they are not as good as the exploding mines that something like the Insurgent has, but the fact that you're still able to literally just kill a car's engine for like 5 seconds is pretty dang impressive. To get a good idea of how the plow works, let's just ram into the back of this car, and as you can see, kind of just pushes people away from you. It does send cars flying, but it's kind of iffy if it works or not. There you go. That was a pretty good example. It's just nice to have a plow. There's a bunch of different plows that you can actually put on your car as well. You can put on this one. There's a giant spinny blade of death. There's a lot of different options, and it just makes the ZR380 incredibly fun. So it's fast, it's got really good protection and missile resistance, plus a plow. Yeah, this is an absolutely amazing car. Inside of your nightclub basement, you have, on the first level, different vehicles you are able to purchase. Inside of my nightclub, we can see I have the MTL Pounder Custom, and I also have the Vapid Speedo Custom, and that is exactly what we're going to be talking about for our number 5 pick. I love the Vapid Speedo Custom for many reasons. First of all, you can fully upgrade this car and the weapons on it as a level 1 as long as you own a nightclub. The vehicle comes with the nightclub for free, and it's really not even that expensive to upgrade, only needing around maybe $500,000. So, in general, pretty dang cheap. What do these upgrades give you? Well, first of all, just like the Insurgent, you get proximity mines that do explode and cause mayhem. Not only that, but you also have a remote 50 cal, which, as we can see, is pretty devastating on the damage that it does cause. I should also mention that the Vapid Speedo Custom features semi-bulletproof glass, meaning that you can shoot the glass for quite a while until you actually cut through, and all these metal panes on the front do actually count as armor, making the Speedo Custom one of the more bulletproof vehicles in the game. Paired with semi-bulletproof glass, it's just an incredibly hard vehicle to deal with. It's not fast, but it is very nice because of that. To call it in, all you need to do is go to Manage Vehicles, and as we can see, it is right there on my choices, but I already have it out. Either way, I love the Vapid Speedo Custom. It's a little disappointing the plow doesn't work. It's kind of a joke they put the plow on it, and you can see that there. The plow just doesn't work, but it is still really fun. In the number 4 position, we arrive to actually a broad variety of vehicles, and that is because it really doesn't matter what type you get. Amani Tech cars are one of the most important purchases you can make in GTA. All Amani Tech vehicles, as long as they have the armor plating upgrades, will survive upwards of 10 homing missiles. And when you pair that with the fact you also can put on a missile lock-on jammer, you're basically indestructible while driving Amani Tech cars. There are some really good picks. You have the Ocelot Virtue, you have the Buffalo STX. Those are definitely the 2 best, I would say, but there's also the Grotti Atali GTO Stinger TT. There are a lot of different Amani Tech vehicles, and I would highly recommend to watch my video where I break into each and every one, their differences and capabilities, so that you can decide what is best for you. But essentially, Amani Tech cars are nearly impossible to stop. They are unkillable when it comes to missiles. Really, the only way you're going to take out a driver is if you're on foot shooting at them, which just really doesn't happen in 2024, so it's why I say it is almost absolutely mandatory to own a vehicle of this type. We arrive to the top 3, and the first one we're going to be breaking into in 3rd place is the Vigilante. Now, I've talked a lot about the Vigilante on the channel, and for good reason. The Vigilante is simply one of the most important purchases you can make in the game. Not only does it feature weapons, we can see there, I just fired a homing missile at a truck, and yeah, this thing does have really, really dangerous homing missiles, but that's not really the major draw. It's the fact that the Vigilante can be used in missions or heist setups. If you're planning on doing heists with friends, or even just doing missions solo that you normally can't spawn special weaponized vehicles in, well, the Vigilante is the only exception. And because it fires homing missiles, it means that you can literally home on enemies inside of these missions, saving you so much time. Pair that with the fact the Vigilante is fast, driving at over 150 miles per hour due to the rocket it features, and the fact that it is able to easily push anything out of its way. It's just a great mission vehicle in general, and it is super capable. Now, that's not to say it's the best at everything. You do need to keep in mind that it cannot survive any explosions, which means if you are using it in a public session, you're going to have to be a little careful. But if you are planning on doing a lot of heists or any sort of mission, the Vigilante is really the only way to go, in my personal opinion. In the number 2 slot, we have the Deluxo. I love the Deluxo for many reasons. First of all, it can fly. This is obviously massive, and it gives you a big advantage over any other driving vehicle in the game. It also has homing missiles, and these are extremely dangerous homing missiles. You can spam them, and it's very easy to recharge just by despawning the car and calling it back in. I love the fact that, unlike most aircraft, you can literally smash the Deluxo into the ground like we did just there, and it's not going to blow up. If you did that with a plane like an F-160 Raiju, yeah, good luck, you're going to be dead. Add all these things together with the fact that the Deluxo has great handling and a top speed of 127 miles per hour when driving on road, and it's actually just a great car in so many use cases. The fact that it can hover over water, making water missions incredibly easy. The fact that the Deluxo can literally sit in one spot and just absolutely annihilate an area around it. It's just a great choice in general. I would highly recommend to get your hands on the Deluxo if you want a flying vehicle that also is quite reliable, you're not going to have to worry about crashing in, and has some of the most dangerous missiles in the game. I would say, hands down, the missiles on the Deluxo are maybe 5 or 4 times better than the Oppressor Mark IIs. I mean, these missiles are dangerous. And that brings us to the final vehicle for today's video, which is the Toreador. The Toreador really just is a jack of all trades when it comes to vehicles in the game. First of all, just like the Stromberg, it features the exact same machine gun, which for some reason does the same damage as a minigun. And we can see that here. I'm barely shooting at these cars, and yet we blow them up in just a few seconds of shooting. I mean, that's about 2.5 seconds of shooting, and a car gets blown up. You just don't mess with the Toreador. It is quite ridiculous, just with the machine gun. But that's without even adding in the fact that you also feature homing missiles. And by the way, this is the only weaponized car in the game that features unlimited homing missiles. You can spam them like crazy, and as I said, it is unlimited amounts of homing missiles, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. Not only does it have unlimited homing missiles, but it also has a rocket boost, allowing it to accelerate incredibly fast up to its top speed and chill at around 145 miles per hour on average. Oh, and I should also mention that this vehicle has a submersible mode, just like the Stromberg, once again just being incredibly useful. Personally, I don't really care too much about the underwater ability this vehicle has. You never use it, but it is still really cool that you can go underwater with this car, which is just great in general. Oh, and the final thing, this car can survive upwards of 7 to 6 explosions before being blown up itself, and I can show that very quickly by, well, shooting a car with a missile. As you can see, we have not gotten blown up, and in fact, I can just keep shooting over and over and over while I'm inside. It takes quite a bit of explosions, and that's before you even saw me hit myself a couple times, messing up the recording there. So the Toreador is a really impressive car. Either way, that is my top 10 picks for the best cars to purchase in Grand Theft Auto Online. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments down below. Let me know if I missed something that you really think should have been in the video. Just remember that it is cars. I'm not including motorcycles like the Oppressor Mark II, planes, or any specific variants of vehicles that don't jump in the four-wheeled vehicle category. So, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!